Welcome to today. Today is the 11th of April, 2026 in conventional time, in conventional reality time. And I'm coming to you from Winjabul country on the Bundjalung Nation in northern New South Wales, Australia, Lismore, otherwise known as Lismore. And I pay respects to the elders past, present and future of the land that I'm staying on or abiding on. So today, I'm not sure about the theme. Actually, no, I'm clear about the theme, and it's related to the current circumstances that are happening in the world. Like it's if it wasn't true, it would be a really fantastic movie, but it's really horrific. It's and endeavoring to manage how to respond to these events that are happening in the world in a way that's aligned with Dharma. That's what I'm trying to do, so that I don't feed into the greed, ignorance, and hatred, but rather find a way we can counteract that movement, that absolute madness that we're witnessing. And so, there's a lot of ways we can do that. And, I have been thinking about, Buddhist activism, but moreover, I guess I'm acting from a position of engaged Buddhism, where we're not only looking after our own heart, but we're also endeavoring to possibly change the structures in a way that is more sustainable and healthy and livable for others, for the world around us, for our human beings in the world. So when I say that, I will give a talk later in the day, in the morning, and the talk will be on, I think I've called it righteous anger, or Buddhist approach to righteous anger and conscience in these global crises. I think that's the term. I mean, we could focus on a whole range of emotions, but I just chose anger because I was on a retreat recently with Susie Brown and Victor Vanderhyde. And that topic came up about anger, feeling the emotions, and people were really engaged. And of course, I put in my 2 bobs worth as well. And I thought it's a pretty relevant thing right now, but all the emotions are relevant for what's happening for us right now. And what I endeavor to do in my personal practice is take whatever destructiveness there will be in an emotion out of it and transform it to a constructive emotion or an emotion that's wholesome and as best I can, so that I'm not feeding into this, as I mentioned before, the madness that we're seeing in samsara right now. I guess the madness has always been there in samsara, but it's particularly obvious at the moment. So in terms of the meditations, I think that what I'll probably do is invite you to, the first meditation will be guided meditation, will be an invitation to access the sense of being cared for. Like just open up to that field of care that's available, that's in the world. And also also kind of open up to that sense of caring, just in general, like the sense of being cared for. That could transform into a compassion meditation. I'm not sure. We'll see how we go from that. And the second meditation I'll invite you to will be a mindfulness meditation, I would say. And it'll be just inviting you to sit present with whatever is happening, and going into your body and being present with whether there's discomfort. If there's discomfort, being present with that. If there's not discomfort, being present with the non-discomfort, or the neutral feelings, or being present with even the pleasant feelings. Just being present with what's happening right now, and experiencing that in your body. And then perhaps opening up to inquire into what's happening here, like having a sense of curiosity about the experience. I guess I'm talking about the 7 factors of awakening here. And then if it's distressing, kind of lean into it with compassion and kindness, but lean into it in a way where you're acknowledging it and recognizing it and seeing and being honest with it. And there may be a sense of kind of relaxing around it, or soothing around it, but just see what happens there with that kind of leaning into, if it's discomfort. If it's pleasant and you lean into it, then you're invited to linger with it and see what happens. I mean, of course, we've talked about at different times how recognizing pleasure when it's related to unworldly pleasure. I've called it spiritual pleasure, but I was on in a meeting last night where Patrick says he never uses the word spiritual, and I thought, well, yeah, I can understand why, but I like to call it spiritual pleasure, a pleasure that that aligns with moving along the path to awakening. So we know that if we tune into spiritual pleasure, that can transform to a happiness, and that can transform to a contentment, and that can transform to equanimity. So either way, we'll see how we go with this invitation to a meditation. So then we'll have some silent meditations, of course, and at about 20 to 11, we'll have a break for a cup of tea or movement or whatever you like. And then I'll invite you to a Dharma talk. I'll offer a Dharma talk on that topic that I mentioned earlier. And I did listen to a meditation a couple of weeks ago that was given by Tara Brach, and it was really quite good. It was on a what was it called? Beyond Us and Them, or something like that. It was a podcast produced by Rick Hanson, or monitored by Rick Hanson, or facilitated by Rick Hanson, and it had Paul Gilbert and Tara Brach on it. And it was a great podcast, or great, from the Coalition of Compassion. It was a great talk. And on that, Tara Brach gave a really lovely really useful meditation about looking at our anger, going to the soft side of anger and seeing where we're hurt, what's happening for us. We might get angry about a circumstance or a situation or a person or something out there. And what she invited us to do is go inside and see what's hurting inside, what's happening inside, what's reacting inside, and developing a sense of compassion towards that and equanimity towards that. And then eventually turning that same perspective onto whatever triggered our anger in the beginning. So I might invite you to that meditation. We'll see how we go. And of course, we'll have time for discussion, as always. And then we'll have we'll have lunch and silent meditations, and then we'll have a bigger group discussion again at 2:30 in the afternoon. Okay, so is that all pretty good for everyone?